Hello everybody and welcome to the Spidermind Games presentation. As usual with the live radio and Lavecon in general, we begin to slide. Need our timey-wimey wibbly-wobbly to get things back on track. But allow me to present John and Oliver from Spidermind Games, and they're here to talk about the new Elite Dangerous Battle Cards game.
Thank you very much indeed, Colin. Hi, I'm John. He's Oliver.
Hi.
Thank you for coming along and listening in. What we are basically going to do today is we are going to, in a second, I'll hand over to Oliver, and he will run everybody here through the basic idea behind the battle cards, how to set up a simple game. I'm sure many of you will want to come over to the games room and have a go sometime this weekend. You are more than welcome. There aren't any sign-up sheets because a game can last anywhere between half an hour and 2 hours, depending on how much umming and ahhing goes on.
And whether Chris Jarvis is playing it.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. So if you're sat opposite him, sorry.
Yeah.
After that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the route to market for this particular game. So it's had a few changes over the last couple of weeks, so I'll bring you up to speed with all of that. And then right at the end, I will update everybody here who is waiting on any RPG updates because our supplement's finally being printed, which is awesome. So I will now hand over to Oliver.
Hello. Elite Dangerous Battle Cards. It's a two-player competitive card game that's obviously based in the Elite Dangerous universe. The aim is to capture 2 out of 3 zones. If you bung us a slide there, John, thank you. It'll probably work. It probably works. I mean, it doesn't work, but it's fine. If you can imagine that there is a large... Oh, no, there it is. Ah, good stuff. So you can see there are 3 zones up there, sort of roughly, sort of demarked. The idea is that you control 2 out of 3 of those zones with your cards. Your cards are mostly spaceships in the Elite Dangerous universe. We've tried to capture as many as possible. And also sometimes things like kind of space stations. You have action cards and outfitting cards that you can use to improve your spaceships and so forth. So if you can capture 2 out of 3 zones, you will win the game. But every zone has got a different mission in it. If you want to flash up a mission, John, just so that people can see. So for instance, this is an asteroid field mission. And when you're in the asteroid field, all of your ships are able to dodge and hide behind asteroids, and thus sort of reduce their damage. But big warships can't deploy there. So it's really the kind of fighting area for little ships. And then you'll have others, such as the escort mission. Convenient, that came up next, where you've got, you have to protect your transports and attack the transports of the enemy. And you can either use the default transports or you can bring your own transports and kind of swap them out. So if you want to have kind of massive Anaconda-style warships as your transports, you can do that. You can sort of swap them out, and it's all quite fun. And the last one, I think, is, there's quite simple missions as well, like the conflict zone, which has no extra rules at all. Depending on the combination of missions, your game changes very, very rapidly. So sometimes you'll have missions that are all quite cheap. They don't give you many reinforcement points. So you're going to be stuck with using quite small ships. And other times it goes crazy. You'll have 15 points a turn to spend. And you'll be able to bring in sort of, Anacondas, Corvettes, cutters. All the biggest and baddest ships in the game will be sort of smashing against each other. Pop us on to the next one. We'll show a unit card. And Grant, if you can make that any bigger, it would be absolutely amazing, but it's entirely up to you. Every ship basically has got, obviously, its own stats. This is a particularly nice one. This is the Vulture, one particular version, which is sort of piloted by a hotshot pilot. It's the number in the top corner is the build point cost. So that one costs 7 build points to put in. When you first set up for a game, you have 30 build points worth of ships to deploy. So that's a fair chunk of your force just in that ship, but it's a very good one. The number in blue is the strength of the card. So that card can take 4 points of damage, which is all right. And then the number underneath that is the speed. So this card's got 50 speed. Faster cards go before slower cards. So the Vulture is pretty fast, not the fastest, but pretty good. Underneath that, you've got your orange lines, which you can see are your actions. Every card can take one of a certain number of actions. Instead of just having the cards do the same thing all the time, so they're just shooting each other. Many cards have got abilities such as making deliveries, scanning planets. Some of them are liners, so they're able to move from zone to zone and sort of get you extra build points by dropping off passengers. There's all the different kind of elite ships, all have got their own little specific roles. So you're able to choose between just blowing up your enemy and doing something special. So with this card, for instance, in addition to just shooting people, you can also just sort of take 2 damage counters off the card and fix it, which gives you a bit more utility. Underneath that, in blue, you can see these are the permanent abilities of the cards. This card is quite nasty. It's got an ability called Stun 2. So whenever it is damaging other cards do less damage to you in return. So it's kind of disrupting them with all kinds of icky electronics. It's also got an ability where it says spend 2 karma, dodge 2. So karma is a reserve of points in the game that you can use to do special abilities. In this case, this vulture is able to avoid damage because it's able to swoop around like a mad thing and stop itself from getting hurt. But you can also sometimes spend karma to increase your attacks. You can spend karma, cobras do this a lot, to increase your speed so that you can sort of get in there first. There's lots of different ways of using it, but you only have 8 karma points at any given time that you can spend. And some of those points you'll spend just on deploying cards. So there is a balance in the game where it's great to deploy wonderful ships like the Vulture, but the Vulture takes 2 karma points to deploy by itself, and then it will drain your karma with its own action. So there's a lot of strategy in terms of how you deploy things.
And on the playing cards itself, you can see the karma is annotated here to each player by these numbers.
That's it. So you can keep track of your karma with that. So basically, once you've got a hand, you tend to have a hand of about 6 cards at any given time. You start deploying your ships. You deploy them in 10-point groups, up to a maximum of 30. So you're sort of alternating deploying your cards. So here we can see that the Federation have just sort of started to deploy theirs, and the Empire are deploying in turn. Ultimately, you'll deploy 30 points worth of ships, which I think is the next slide, could be. Yes, there we are. And so you'll end up with a battlefield that will look something like that. So right from the start, there's quite a large number of ships involved, and they're all going to be fighting each other. Essentially, just very basically, in terms of combat, cards tend to attack in one of 2 ways. They've got fixed damage. Fixed damage just automatically hits. So if you've got a card like the Federal Corvette that's got fixed 4 for its damage, you just take 4 damage counters and plonk it straight on the card. There's also burst damage, and burst damage is determined by rolling dice. Basically, if you've got burst 3, say, you roll 3 dice. Every 4, 5, and 6 that you get on your dice, you inflict 1 point of damage. Some cards do both fixed and burst damage. Some only do one type. If you're the kind of person that believes they're inherently lucky, go for burst damage. It's got the potential to do more, but fixed damage is incredibly reliable. So if you're the sort of person who feels they're very unlucky, go for cards that do fixed damage, and you are more likely to be successful. But there's, in the game itself, we've currently got the starter set set out, or at least kind of like our basic version of it. That comes with 60 unit cards, and you've got 20 mission-based cards. So that'll include everything from, missions are everything from the things you've seen there, asteroid fields and so forth, to attacks on Coriolis space stations, to
Thargoid attacks.
Yep, Thargoid attacks. There's all sorts of different ones that you get. And you'll get all that in the starter box. The starter box is £20. In addition, there's 3 expansion packs which you can get for the game, which are sort of part of our first season. They're all non-randomized. All non-randomized. So you know what you're getting in each pack. So you don't have to spend £500 just to get your kind of Anaconda Super Trader. You can see exactly what you want.
You can if you want to.
I mean, yes, of course.
Just saying.
Yeah,
please
no,
feel free.
Yeah, I know. So if you want to buy 10 season boxes, that's fine. We also sell the season box, which has got all of the expansions in, as well as it's got a lovely hard board with it, and lots of lovely dice and counters and all those sorts of things. That's got basically every single card we've produced in one big set. It retails at £60, but we're going to sell it for 50, as John will discuss in his bit in a moment. But very basically, I mean, this game is a deck building game, so it's nice to have lots of different cards. So if you get the season box, I mean, you'll have plenty. If you become a very rabid tournament player, you can, if you want, get multiple boxes. But the season box will do just fine. So don't feel the need to explode now. Yeah. Yeah, so the 50 quid box you get, it's the unfoldable card mat. The ones that we're playing on at the moment are the nice sexy foam mats. They don't so easily fit in a box.
We'll be offering the neoprene mat as a stretch goal, hopefully throughout the pre-order campaign.
Yeah, so
as long as we raise enough, then that'll be something that we would like to offer everyone.
Yeah, then we'll do it. But it's.
But the 6-fold game mat that you get in the season box is like any normal game. So if you think of Monopoly or anything like that, it'll be a 6-fold map. The poster map in the starter set is just an A2 poster that's folded up. So you will be able to play on it, but it just won't be quite as sexy as the season box. And also, as Oliver mentioned, we will be releasing, as part of the crowdfunding campaign, we'll be releasing some tournament rules as well. So when you play this for the first time, if you come over to the games room, you'll see that there are 3 random missions that you get to choose. With tournament rules, there is a possibility to know what missions you're going to be playing in advance, for us to set that as one of the tournament prerequisites, and then you come with your deck built accordingly. So there are 2 ways in which you can play it. One is a completely random sit down one afternoon and choose whichever mission and off you go. Or the other one is very specifically designed towards people who enjoy deck building. So we're hopefully going to appeal to both audiences.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah,
absolutely.
As I'm sure many of you are aware, we actually launched this product with a Frontier live stream a couple of weeks ago. And we very soon realized afterwards that there was actually a wider demand than perhaps we'd first given this game credit for. And we went last week to UK Games Expo, and one of the things that we picked up at UK Games Expo was the demand by publishers to have this translated into various languages. We also spoke to 2 distributors, one in a US-based one and one a European-based. And given their initial interest and the number of units that they wanted to order, they were very keen to encourage us to push this out to a wider market. And of course, the best and the largest market, as anyone who has ever used Kickstarter or Indiegogo before, these are the platforms where the majority of games are sold these days. And so we approached Frontier for permission to go onto a crowdfunding site, knowing their reluctance to allow us. They were, however, happy for us to do so. I think because we kickstarted the RPG and we've delivered on the core book and they've seen how the quality of it, then at least they know we're not joking or we're not likely to take your money and run away. No, because it's a good game, so we wouldn't want to do that. But yeah, so the idea now is that whilst we've been running a pre-order campaign now for a couple of weeks, we're actually looking to fix a date soon to launch a crowdfunding campaign. A couple of things we'd like to do. One is, if anyone has backed us already, first of all, thank you very much. But what we'd like to do, without coming across as being a complete pain, what we'd love to be able to do is refund you that money, let you know what the launch date is for the crowdfunding site, and have everybody lining up waiting for the moment we press the launch button. Because if everybody spams the site and we get the number of backers that we have already back us, we will be over the various algorithms that these crowdfunding sites hit, and then we're suddenly their pick of the week, their chosen newsletter entry, and all that sort of stuff. So we will get to the stage where it would be great if we could achieve that kind of level of success, because then we are taken out to the wider market straight away. And then, of course, as well as being able to offer it to the elite community, if other people like this game because it's a good standalone deck building card game, then hopefully more people will also like Elite. So it does a little bit of a nice cross-pollination, as they say in the executive world. Yeah, so that's what we're hoping to do. I know there are some backers I've spoken to already here who've backed us, and when I've asked them if it's okay if I refund you and you go back to following us on Kickstarter, I've had a resounding positive. If you're negative, throw something now. But most people, yeah, exactly, you don't have anything to throw, yay. But most people have been positive because you know it, you get it, it's an algorithm, we want to hit that because it's being on somewhere like Kickstarter and getting their pick of the week is an amazing benefit. So that's what we'll do. Now, to follow us, to find out when that date is, best thing to do is to either visit the website every so often or to follow us on Facebook. We've got ED Battle Cards on Facebook. If you like the page, then you will be told when the launch date is. That's probably the best way of doing it.
Yeah, most importantly, do come and play it because we've got 4 tables. I would love to show you. It's a fab game, so hopefully you'll all really enjoy it.
Yep. And finally, just to finish off, I'd like to talk a little bit about the supplements. Now, for people who've backed the RPG, they've had to learn the definition of the word patience because this stuff was meant to have been printed in February. So first of all, apologies for taking such a long time. I can tell you all the excuses, and if you want to know, come and ask me afterwards. But the upside is that our printers have finally produced the supplements. That picture was taken in Latvia yesterday. So they're on a boat somewhere and they're heading over to our distribution warehouse in Guildford, at which point we will then start distributing for anyone who backed for the supplements. So the 4 supplements plus the core book will be coming out to you, hopefully, as long as the ship doesn't sink or anything like that, or it's interdicted by Thargoids, it should be with you, or it should be starting to distribute by the end of this month. That will also include the Games Master's screen and the character sheets and all the other bits and pieces. If anybody wants to come over and look at the book because you're like, Elite RPG, what's that? We've got some copies that we'll be making available. There are also some games that a couple of our EDRPG ambassadors will be playing throughout the weekend. The sign-up sheets are over by the reception desk if you want to get involved. Awesome. Well, that's, I think, everything.
It is, at the risk of throwing Lave Radio back on schedule.
Oh, no, one more thing. If you want to look gorgeous and impress your friends,
right?
May I invite you to take a look at Commander Wotherspoon here, sat at the front. No. This handsome gentleman is displaying the Weasel Rat T-shirt, which is a construction of true art. And as you can see now, Mr. Wotherspoon looks gorgeous in it. It also makes him present his radio programs much better. It turns your voice significantly more sexy. Or is that possible? No, probably not with your case. But anyway, they are available to buy. Oliver hates them. So it is my personal mission. Plus, he made a bet with me that I couldn't sell the Weasel Rat T-shirts. So I'm in for some stack of cash, which I'll put behind the bar. Okay, we've just sold out of the last XXL, but we've got other sizes. Even if you can just fit half of it on, or you have to tear it in the middle and stick it over your head, wear it as a scarf, it'll look awesome. Plus, you need at least 2 for your kids. So please come and buy all of the stock that we've got. Then I win a bet. Then I put it behind the bar and I'll buy everyone a beer.
It's had its day. It's done. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Has anyone got any questions? Sorry, yeah. Yep. So from my experience, most people, if they're into sleeving their cards, they'll get like the massive booklet thing and they'll pop them in. Certainly, the starter set's been designed. If you look at the starter set,
the way the starter set is designed is once it's emptied, you should be able to therefore store all your cards in there with sleeves. Yeah. And we will also, as part of the crowdfunding exercise, also try to look to kickstart things like dividers, so you can put the Federation cards as far away from the Imperial cards as you need to.
Yeah, but it should be fine.
Again, it depends on what sleeves you use, but it should work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That depends on how much it costs and how we haven't decided the stretch goals yet, because we're trialing a set of neoprene mats next door in the games hall anyway. So if we like them and they're worthwhile, then it just depends, because we're going to have to obviously crunch some numbers to make sure that it doesn't bankrupt us.
My instinct is that it's probably an add-on, because what we don't want to do is pump the price of the game up to the point where, I mean, if we sold it for 75, suddenly it's a case of people going, what for 245 cards? No, I'm not going to. But in a way,
but there has to be a minimum order to make it worthwhile. I mean, we can order 1 or 2. But then that'll weigh in at about, for retail, we'll get them for about 15 quid. So, then we suddenly have to sell them for stupid amounts of money. So what I'd love to be able to do is I'd love to go to the manufacturer and say, on the basis that we know if we reach this stretch goal, we will have at least this number of people interested. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from. We haven't set on any of the stretch goals or any of the add-ons. So we will be having head scratching over the next couple of weeks, which is another reason why you want to follow the Facebook page, because decisions like that, when they're made, we will shove them up on the Facebook page as well.
Awesome. Anyone else? Yes.
Yeah. Supplements, yeah. You can buy PDFs at the moment for £7.50 each, or you can buy the physical copy for £15. You can also buy the box set, which is everything. All the books, including the core book, and in a nice shiny box for 90 quid, or you can pick and choose the PDFs. There's even a £40 PDF virtual box set, which is all 5 books in just PDF. Once we've released the supplements, we will also be looking at selling the 4 supplements as a physical bundle on their own for people who've already bought the core book. But we weren't 100% sure how many we were going to be ordering, how many were going to be demanded. And actually, the distributors have already asked for the whole of the first print run. So we're already having to order a second print run, even though the first print run hasn't arrived yet. So,
which is good.
Which is great, but it's just like,
convenient. But no, Kickstarters will get it first. So if you Kickstarter act, you will get it first.
Get this first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yes, we'll get some more in. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Cool. I think that's everything. If no one else has any questions, then thank you very much indeed for patiently sitting through this. We look forward to welcoming you all next door so you can all have a go. And if you want to learn from a master at this, then Mr. Kirby will be able to walk around with a big smile on his face. Because out of his 3 games, he won 1.
Yeah.
He's won a game.
Yep, absolutely.
So do come over and have a go, because it is a lot of fun. And thanks for listening.
Thank you very much.